The divorce between Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum Denise Richards and Aaron Phypers has taken another shocking turn. Aaron filed for divorce from Denise on July 7, 2025, and is requesting spousal support. Now, Denise is revealing some disturbing claims about Aaron's alleged violent interactions with her. RHOBH alum Denise Richards accuses husband Aaron Phypers of physical abuse and wants a restraining order. In court papers obtained by Briefing on Bravo, Denise wrote, "Throughout our relationship, Aaron would frequently violently choke me, violently squeeze my head with both hands, tightly squeeze my arms, violently slap me in my face and head, aggressively slam my head into the bathroom towel rack." In 2022, Denise alleged that Aaron badly bruised her eye after he became paranoid that plants at his workplace contained listening devices. According to Denise, he used the heel of his palm to strike her in the eye while calling her an F-king bitch. Along with the papers, Denise also provided photos showing her bruised face and bruises on her arms from a 2023 red carpet outing. She claimed that Aaron caused the injuries, and in an incident from early July, Aaron screamed at her to hand over the phone. When Denise threatened to call 911, Aaron allegedly said, "I would like to see the cops take me away. I will blow everything up if they try." In addition, Denise reported that Aaron has at least 8 unregistered guns. As a result of her allegations, Denise was granted a temporary domestic violence restraining order. The restraining order will last through August 8, which is the next court date for the former couple. The fluorescent hum of the courthouse hallway was a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside Denise Richards. Each step echoed the tremor in her hands, a tremor that had become a constant companion over the past few years. Today, July 7, 2025, wasn't just about the papers clutched in her hand. It was about reclaiming a life that had slowly, insidiously been stolen from her. Aaron had filed for divorce, requesting spousal support, a final, audacious twist of the knife. But Denise was done being the victim. Today, she would lay bare the truth, a truth far uglier than any tabloid headline could capture. She remembered the beginning, a whirlwind romance that had promised a fresh start, a safe harbor after the tumultuous waters of her past. Aaron Phypers had been charming, attentive, a seemingly grounded presence who understood the unique pressures of her world. He listened, truly listened, to her dreams and fears, offering a stability she craved. Their laughter had filled sun-drenched rooms, and his touch had felt like a promise. The early days were a kaleidoscope of shared jokes, quiet evenings, and the comforting illusion of a deep, unbreakable connection. He'd seemed so protective, so fiercely loyal. It was easy to mistake that intensity for love, to dismiss the first subtle shifts in his demeanor, the possessive glances, the slight tightening of his grip. She'd rationalized them away, attributing them to his passion, his desire to keep her safe. The cracks, at first hairline fractures, began to spiderweb across the facade. It started subtly, a raised voice over a misplaced item, a sudden chill in the air when she spoke to a male colleague. Then came the paranoia. In 2022, the world seemed to tilt on its axis. Aaron had returned from his workplace, his eyes wide and unfocused, a frantic energy radiating from him. He paced their living room, muttering about listening devices, convinced that the potted plants in his office were bugged conduits for unseen enemies. Denise had tried to soothe him, to reason, to suggest he was overtired. That was her mistake. His gaze had snapped to her, cold and accusing. "You're in on it, aren't you?" He'd snarled, his voice laced with a venom she hadn't heard before. Before she could react, the heel of his palm connected with her eye, a sickening thud that echoed in her skull. The world blurred, pain exploding behind her eyelid. "You F-king bitch," he'd hissed, standing over her, his shadow a menacing blot against the bright California sun. She'd crumpled, clutching her face, the metallic taste of fear coating her tongue. The bruise that bloomed across her orbital bone was a grotesque masterpiece of his rage, a constant, throbbing reminder of his capacity for cruelty. She'd hidden it with makeup, invented a clumsy accident, anything to avoid the questions, to avoid admitting the terrifying reality. The incidents became more frequent, more brutal, each one chipping away at her spirit, eroding her sense of self-worth. Throughout our relationship, she'd meticulously documented in the court papers, her pen shaking with the memory. Aaron would frequently violently choke me, violently squeeze my head with both hands, tightly squeeze my arms, violently slap me in my face and head, aggressively slam my head into the bathroom towel rack. Each phrase was a fresh wound, relived in the sterile silence of her lawyer's office. The choking, perhaps the most terrifying, left her gasping for air, the world fading to black, the sheer terror of powerlessness consuming her. His hands, once tender, became instruments of control, squeezing, pressing, cutting off her breath until she thought she might burst. The head squeezes were disorienting, a crushing pressure that made her vision swim, leaving her with throbbing headaches and a profound sense of vulnerability. The slaps, sharp and stinging, were often followed by a chilling calm from him, as if he'd simply corrected a child. And the bathroom towel rack incident. The cold, hard metal against her skull, the jarring impact, the sudden, blinding pain. She learned to brace herself, to anticipate the shifts in his mood, the subtle tightening of his jaw, the glint in his eyes that signaled the coming storm. She walked on eggshells, her life a constant performance of appeasement, her every word and action carefully calibrated to avoid triggering his wrath. The public eye, a double-edged sword, inadvertently provided damning evidence. In 2023, stepping onto a red carpet, all smiles and practiced poise, she'd felt the familiar ache in her arm. Beneath the elegant sleeve of her gown, angry purple and yellow bruises blossomed, a testament to Aaron's latest outburst. He'd been furious about something trivial, a perceived slight, and had grabbed her arm, twisting it until she cried out. She plastered on a smile for the cameras, her heart pounding, the humiliation a burning ember in her chest. The photos, now submitted as evidence, told a story her publicist had carefully crafted to conceal. A story of a woman trapped, her body bearing the silent screams of her torment. The final straw had come in early July, a sweltering evening that mirrored the heat of their argument. Denise had been on her phone, a lifeline to the outside world, a small piece of autonomy he increasingly resented. Hand over the phone. Aaron had demanded, his voice low and menacing. She'd hesitated, clutching it tighter. The threat had spilled out, a desperate plea for safety. "I'll call 911. His reaction was chilling, devoid of fear, almost triumphant. "I would like to see the cops take me away," he'd sneered, stepping closer, his eyes glinting with a dangerous resolve. "I will blow everything up if they try." The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken threats, a terrifying promise of escalation. She knew he wasn't just talking about their lives, she knew about the guns. At least 8, unregistered, hidden away. The thought of them, combined with his escalating volatility, had sent a cold dread through her. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about her children, their safety, the fragile peace she desperately tried to maintain. That night, something shifted within Denise. The fear was still there, a cold knot in her stomach, but it was now overshadowed by a fierce, protective instinct. She couldn't live like this anymore. She couldn't let her children witness this, or worse, become targets themselves. The decision to act, to break free, was agonizing. The shame, the public scrutiny, the fear of his retaliation, it all weighed heavily. But the alternative, a life lived in constant terror, was no longer an option. She contacted her lawyer, her voice trembling but resolute. Each word she spoke, each detail she recounted, was a step towards liberation, a painful but necessary excavation of her buried trauma. Filing the court papers was a surreal experience. The sterile environment, the quiet efficiency of the clerks, the weight of the legal documents. It all felt detached from the raw, visceral pain of her memories. Yet, as she signed her name, a profound sense of purpose settled over her. This wasn't just a legal formality. It was an act of defiance, a declaration of independence. She was putting her truth out into the world, not for sympathy, but for safety, for justice. The photos of her bruised face, the marks on her arms, they were no longer symbols of her shame, but evidence of her resilience. The temporary domestic violence restraining order was granted, a small but significant victory. It would last through August 8, the next court date. For the first time in a long time, Denise felt a fragile sense of peace, a sliver of hope. The order was a shield, a temporary barrier between her and the man who had systematically dismantled her peace. But she knew this was just the beginning. The road ahead would be long, fraught with legal battles and emotional scars. Yet, as she walked out of the courthouse, the setting sun casting long shadows, she felt a strength she hadn't known she possessed. She was Denise Richards, a survivor no longer defined by the violence she endured, but by the courage she found to fight back, to reclaim her voice, and to finally, truly be free.